little information for those right-wing fanatics out there. So following Nixon signed 1973, it opened the door for for-profit HMOs. Most hospitals and health insurance companies were nonprofits then. The nonprofit Blue Cross Blue Shield controlled much, perhaps most of the U.S. health insurance market until that era. Reagan also, in 1983, ordered the Department of Justice, the FTC, and the SEC to essentially stop enforcing antitrust laws. That dated all the way back to 1891, the Sherman Act, resulting in the mergers and acquisitions mania that characterized the 1980s and inspired Greed is Good, the movie Wall Street. Health insurance companies, hospitals, pharmaceutical manufacturers all morphed from regional competitive organizations into giant monopolistic predators. Their profits exploded and our lifespans collapsed. Every year now, they spread hundreds of millions of dollars around Washington, D.C. and state capitals to prevent regulation and maintain the status quo. This is what you get with Republicans. I want you to know that, okay? As an independent. We're quite literally the only country in the world with a corrupt Supreme Court that has legalized this kind of vicious attack on its citizens by a bought-off political party and their morbidly rich donors, excuse me. Wow. Yeah, they like to skew it. In 2020, per capita murder rates were 40% higher in states won by Donald Trump than those won by Joe Biden. 40% higher. 8 out of 10 states with the highest murder rates in 2020 voted for Republican presidential nominee in every election this century. Wow. Jacksonville, a city with a Republican mayor, had 128 more murders in 2020 than San Francisco. Homicide rate in Speaker Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco was half that of House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy's Bakersfield, a city with a Republican mayor that overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Sexual disease. Okay, sexually transmitted diseases, presumably because most have outlawed teaching sex education in their public schools in Republican-led states. The 5 states with the highest rates of chlamydia infections are Alaska, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, and New Mexico. The highest rates of gonorrhea are in Mississippi, Alaska, South Carolina, Alabama, and Louisiana. Schools, states with the lowest educational attainment in the nation, are entirely red states. Ranked from terrible to absolutely worse, they are Idaho, Indiana, Oklahoma, Alabama, Nevada, Louisiana, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi, and West Virginia. They just really think they're owning the libs, don't they? You know, the problem is that not everyone is fucking ignorant because of their education system. You run into somebody like me who has basically been a genius since he was a young child. I've been the rebel. I've been the guy on the outside. I've been the black sheep. See? I've lived both sides of the street. I was a Republican for a very, very, very long time. And then when Nixon came around and signed the DEA into effect, simply because he despised Jewish psychologists, that was it for me. I started changing right then into an independent. 30 years, they lost me after 30 years. So, yeah, don't wave your fucking Confederate flag at me, because you see, unfortunately for you, I do have an education. I do know how to read, and I do know how to look up the facts that I need to look up from reliable sources and not Fox News. Unless you're Tucker Carlson. Oh, that drives me crazy. When he does that, I know that's psychologically damaged. That's a psychological tick when he does that. Whenever he lies and says something that he knows is a lie, but he has to say it because it's something that his dark part makes him say, ha 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 ha, that crazy fucking maniacal laugh that he has. Completely inappropriate most of the time. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately for the Republican Party, not everyone is stupid. And this is why they got their fucking ass handed to them. Because everyone that does not live in those solidly red states might have learned something in school because they were allowed to learn.